So we do have Dan on the phone. So.
Call to order the special meeting, Florence City Council, Monday, December 30th, 2024. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Van Houten,
Here.
Councilmember Stiefel,
Here.
Councilmember Stone,
Here.
Councilmember Mergelman,
Here.
Councilmember Gardner,
Here.
Councilmember McKinnon,
Here.
Mayor Wolf.
Here. Our order of business tonight, the American Rescue Plan Act obligations. Presentation, City Manager, please.
Yes, thank you for coming tonight, Council. Did you all get an opportunity to read the Council discussion form that was included in your packet that kind of went over what the purpose of tonight's meeting is? In short, there have been a couple things we were notified of. It looked as though we had obligated everything for the ARPA money that the city was due. We actually received documentation that it was obligated, and then we received an update stating that obligated does not just mean budgeted, it means under contract by December 31st of 2024. So in order to do that, we looked for projects for 2025 that were already budgeted or into 2026 that were going to be more considered non-negotiable type of budgeted items, because the money can still be spent through December 31st of 2026 as long as it's contracted. So we found a lot of items that we could get under contract so that we don't lose any of that funding that we need for the community, but then that will free up general fund money to do the ARPA projects such as the Pioneer Park bathrooms that the council was interested in doing. One thing I did want to add to that discussion form is about the competitive bidding process. Under the city's purchasing policy, section 6G, source selection, competitive bidding and awards, waiver process for formal competitive bidding. The formal bid process may, at the city manager's discretion, if it's deemed in the best interest of the city, be waived. That does require me to provide a written description of the selection process or the basis of the waiver. The basis of the waiver, of course, being ARPA and the funding, and we include that with the documentation of all of these contracts and purchase orders as we go through and get them signed. So everything will have that waiver included that would have been subject to the competitive bidding process. We still tried to reach out to multiple local entities or multiple contractors that we typically worked at wherever possible, but in the interest of expediency and making sure that we got these before you, we did waive like the RFP process, which is typically about a 4 to 6 week process.
All right. Any questions for City Manager? I know you did answer the one question about competitive bids. I got a quick question. What about the tree program? Because that's not in here at all, and we had designated some ARPA funds for trees.
Yes, because that was already a previously budgeted item, staff is taking everything, so they've done what phases 1, 2, and I believe they're finishing up 3, got some of the invoices, so we're taking that $113,500 that the council budgeted to the tree program, and we built that program around, subtracting what's already been spent, and then we're going to draw down against it with the contractor who has agreed to do the rest of it, plus get the trees for the replacement. So it's not in here because it's previously budgeted, so it doesn't require council approval
Okay.
for that contract.
Okay, so the contractor has agreed to complete the program, draw it down, as long as we have funds for it.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions?
Maybe just a comment. How many communities are jumping through this hoop now? Any ideas?
I have no idea. I know there were a lot of communities left on the list of the documentation that we received where it showed that we had actually obligated all the funding in the way that we were previously told to obligate it. But several communities still had a large amount of outstanding funding. So I don't know, but I really want to thank Lori for recognizing the issue and helping to make sure this got in front of you, because we think this funding is so important and it's really irreplaceable to the community.
So is this a readjustment on their part to the rules?
It sounds like it. It's hard to know because you go through all these federal seminars and webinars and different things, and they tell you different things to do. Lori had always followed the process, and to the best of my understanding, that was the process that was being followed. Then they provided clarification that obligated means under contract, not just budgeted for specific projects, which was how they had told us to obligate it previously, was to put it into your formal budget and include it for specific projects. But now they said, oh, those need to be actually under contract. So whether that will change or not, we don't know, but we, again, didn't want to take a chance with that $500,000 plus in funding, because we can't replace it if it's lost.
Yeah. And Gail, I don't know if you remember, she sent us a spreadsheet, some information earlier on. You know, I counted up, there were 16 communities that had obligated 50% or less. And some of that was from like a $4 million budget. And this was as of 12/16?
I believe so.
12/16 update. So there's, municipalities, cities, counties out there. Well, there's some counties, big counties that have tens of millions that need to be obligated, I guess. So, yeah.
I did want to clarify a couple of procedural things, if that's okay. You'll notice that most of the new business items have multiple motions. You will need to vote on each one of those separately, but everything can just be a voice vote unless someone specifically requests a roll call vote. None of these, our city council rules of procedure only require roll call for ordinances, resolutions, or anything that statutorily requires that. None of these would require a roll call vote unless council wanted to do one.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion considering the purchase of vehicles.
I'll make a motion. We authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Daniels Long Chevrolet in the amount of $80,110 for the purchase of Chevy Silverado 3500 with a dump bed, and authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Daniel Long Chevrolet in the amount of $53,787 for the purchase of a Chevy Silverado 1500.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
make a motion to second.
Okay. Any discussion or questions?
So real quick, on the first page of it, is it one Chevy Silverado and then you have two in parentheses? Is it only one Chevy Silverado?
It is one. There's one with the dump bed, the 3,500 with the dump bed for approximately 80,000. And then the second one is for a police vehicle,
Okay.
the 1,500 for approximately 53,000.
I just need verification on the, is it two Chevy 1500?
Absolutely. The way it was written on the bid we received is a little
What the
obscure. but
motion is.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Item 4B, consider authorizing the city manager to enter contract with Colorado Shed Company for the prefab building.
I move to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Colorado Shed Company in the amount of $29,460.68 for the purchase of a prefabricated building.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second.
Second?
Any questions?
I did want to add one thing on this. It is likely to be close to the 40,000, which the remainder would come out of general fund for the interior finish work and such, and the electrical things we'd have to outsource. So just in the interest of full disclosure, it's likely to approach that 40,000, but you're only voting on purchasing the shed tonight. The remainder would just come out of general fund money, and this would have been a 2026 CIP recommendation as a non-negotiable because our insurance company has requested this for multiple years at this point.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4C, considering entering in contract with Amnets for the purchase of computer equipment.
I'll make a motion. We authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Amnet in the amount of $30,392.18 for the purchase of 10 new Dell ProRugged 14 laptops. And authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Amnet for the amount of $21,021.16 for the purchase of 12 new laptop computers and 12 new desktop computers and 6 new laptop computers.
Any questions?
I did want to clarify that this was a corrected CAF. The first one left off $3,600 in labor that's required to install the Tyler system onto the police department's laptops. So my
Yeah.
apologies for the clerical
Yeah.
error.
Yeah, and my recollection is that the Tyler system has caused a lot of issues with older computer equipment for all entities.
Yes,
Okay.
and not just in this area even.
Okay.
And when I ask a question, and see, most of our computer system has become dated and not accepting a lot of the new software and computer stuff that's out there,
That is correct.
which limits us to what we can use out there as far as new software and stuff.
That is correct. We're having difficulty updating certain things. It's not working well with some of the software that we've been using for a long time as it moves to new platforms and new updates. And a lot of these are actually past their useful life. This is basically would have been your 2025 and 2026 computer purchases.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to second that.
Okay. Okay, we got a second there? I think we already did. Okay. All right.
That's right, we did.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 4D, consider entering a contract with Tri-States for our fireworks for 25 and 26. Somebody like to make that motion?
I'd like to make the motion to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Tri-State Fireworks, Inc. in the amount of $16,000 for the 2025 fireworks for the City of Florence annual 4th of July celebration, and authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Tri-State Fireworks, Inc. in the amount of $16,500 for the 2026 fireworks for the City of Florence's annual 4th of July celebration.
Any questions or further explanations?
I just wanted to clarify on some of these for 2026. We're basically purchasing ahead. So we're not jumping ahead to the next budget, but we're purchasing ahead for things that would have been included in that budget, not making the 2026 budget ahead of time.
Okay.
I'll second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, got that, very good. Any other questions? All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4E, consider entering an agreement for the replacement of the pool guard shack roof.
I'll make a motion for item E. Consider authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Shake Handle Roofing Company for replacement of pool guard shack. ARP funding in the amount of $36,360 plus 10%.
Here's the
Oh, there it is.
I'll let you have that for the updated one.
Authorize the city manager to enter into contract with Shake Handles Roofing for $39,996, including a 10% contingency for the replacement of the pool guard shack roof.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
This one falls within your Pioneer Park scope of work, because the guard shack, the pool area, the bathrooms, all of that was included. So this one actually falls within that scope of work going toward that project.
And I have some questions. It's my understanding that not only does it replace the roof, it replaces some of the structural damage done to roof joists and stuff over the year.
That is correct. When we went on to the roof to put patching and such on, we found that some of the trusses were getting soft and were pretty damaged. So this actually replaces some of the structural, the trusses and such in the roof.
And it's not a repair job, it's a new roof.
Yes.
Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. New business, item F, consider entering into contracts with Matthew Little and Brady's Locksmith for replacement of the front entry doors and locks at the Florence Municipal Building.
I move to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Matthew Little in the amount of $18,000 for the replacement of 2 exterior front entry doors at the Florence Municipal Building, and authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement, a contract with Matthew Little in the amount of $5,000 to replace the interior front entry doors. That's a repeat of the Florence Municipal Building, and authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Brady's Locksmith in the amount of $7,205 for the addition of electronic locking system on the front entry doors of the Florence Municipal Building and on the State Patrol entry door at the Florence Municipal Building.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Again, this would have been included in your 2026 CIP. We're getting to where the door doesn't latch properly, having to put extra monitoring on it to try and close it, and wanted to put in the electronic monitoring system as well for when employees are entering and exiting the building. And the electronic lock will go on this door as well. And it goes with our whole lock system that we use throughout the whole building. The exterior doors on this side were just never done previously.
Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, again, I'd just like to thank city manager and Lori, finance director, for all the hard work that they've done, because I know this was probably a little shock to the system and probably an oh my moment whenever you got that new new information from the state and from CML. So again, thank you for all your hard work on that. And you know, especially during this time of the season too, and kind of chopped up time. So again,
And
thank you.
Public Works as well. They went out and got a lot of the bids for these items while they were doing all their Christmas lights and such, so.
Okay.
Well, I think the timing of it right at the end of our budget, we thought we had the budget all done. And then at the 11th hour, they pulled this on us, so I know how much work it took. I was almost in a panic, and I never saw any panic here. I was pretty happy.
All right. Any other comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned at 5:48.